but to have a lot of plants from a lot of different items built in the United States. And it's happening big league.
For decades, Jeep has been an icon of American strength, rugged, dependable, and built for the toughest roads. It's a brand that represents freedom, hard work, and the American way. But what if I told you that Jeep just made a move so bold, so defiant, that it sent shockwaves through Washington, and now Donald Trump is furious? This is how Jeep just threatened Trump, and why he's firing back with everything he's got. At the center of this battle is a single question: is Jeep making a smart business move, or is this a betrayal of American workers? From shifting production overseas to a political showdown that could shake the entire auto industry, this fight is bigger than just one company. The stakes couldn't be higher. And here's the kicker: Trump isn't just talking, he's striking back with tariffs and penalties that could cost Jeep billions. But Jeep, they're not backing down. Stick with me to the end, because this isn't just about one car company. This fight could reshape American manufacturing as we know it. Let's break it all down. What's happening? The statement was not just bold, it was a direct opposition to the administration's stance on domestic manufacturing and economic nationalism. The automotive giant publicly challenged the policies of the President of the United States, sending shockwaves through Washington. While companies often navigate policies discreetly, Jeep's public stance was an outright declaration of independence from the President's economic vision. The company, known for its rugged, all-American image, declared an aggressive global expansion plan, one that signaled a departure from the administration's push to keep manufacturing on United States soil. Within hours, the response from the President of the United States was swift and unforgiving. In a series of pointed public statements, he expressed outrage at Jeep's decision, calling it an insult to American workers and a betrayal of the nation's economic recovery. Supporters of the administration echoed these sentiments, taking to social platforms to voice their anger. The tension was immediate and the battle lines were drawn. The President of the United States is not just talking, he is taking action. The stage is set for an economic showdown that could reshape the automotive industry. But Jeep's decision was not random. So what is really behind this bold step? Jeep's strategy. Why now? The automotive industry has been facing unprecedented challenges, and Jeep, like its competitors, is adapting to the shifting landscape. The transition to electric vehicles, the increasing costs of domestic manufacturing, and the ever-expanding global market are pushing automakers to make difficult choices. The core of Jeep's strategy is about future survival. While the administration insists on keeping production within the United States, Jeep has been focusing on international opportunities that promise higher profits and lower manufacturing costs. This decision aligns with a broader industry trend. Companies are looking beyond national borders to remain competitive in a rapidly evolving marketplace. Jeep's global expansion is driven by hard numbers. Labor costs overseas are significantly lower, supply chains are more efficient, and international demand for electric and hybrid vehicles is rising faster than in the United States. Jeep's leadership sees this as an opportunity to solidify the brand's future by investing in markets that offer long-term growth potential. But this move is not without risk. The administration has made it clear that corporations prioritizing overseas investments over domestic job creation will face severe consequences. Jeep is not just making a business decision, it is challenging the political establishment, and in doing so, it is putting the entire industry on notice. This is not just about Jeep, this could shake the entire auto industry. The America First dilemma. Jeep has always been an American icon, so why does this feel like a betrayal? Since its inception, Jeep has been synonymous with rugged American ingenuity, tracing its roots back to the military vehicles that helped define victory during times of global conflict. Its legacy is embedded in the nation's identity. That is why its recent move to shift production outside the United States has ignited an emotional and political firestorm. The administration's economic policies are rooted in an America First philosophy, emphasizing domestic production and job creation. Jeep's decision to expand manufacturing overseas stands in direct opposition to this vision. The question at the heart of this conflict is whether Jeep is abandoning its commitment to American workers or simply evolving to survive in a hyper-competitive global industry. For decades, Jeep enthusiasts have taken pride in driving vehicles that symbolize American craftsmanship. Now, many of these loyal customers feel torn. Some argue that Jeep is making a strategic business decision that ensures long-term success, while others see it as a betrayal of its roots. The political divide surrounding this issue is growing, with industry analysts warning that Jeep's future sales may be affected by consumer backlash. The administration cannot afford to let this slide. With an election cycle on the horizon, the battle over Jeep is becoming a defining moment in the fight over the nation's economic identity. The stakes have never been higher. Trump's retaliation begins. The president is not just angry, he is about to strike back hard. This is no longer just a war of words. The administration is rolling out retaliatory measures designed to pressure Jeep into reversing its decision. The first step, economic penalties. Threats of tariffs, sanctions, and federal contract cancellations are looming over Jeep's leadership. The administration is leveraging every tool at its disposal to ensure that corporations prioritizing global profits over American jobs face significant financial consequences. Economic advisors within the White House are already working on policies that could make Jeep's international expansion far more costly than anticipated. Beyond financial measures, the administration's public relations strategy is in full force. The president is using his platform to rally support against Jeep, painting the company as an example of corporate greed at the expense of hardworking Americans. This narrative is resonating with a significant portion of the public, further intensifying the pressure on Jeep to reconsider its plans. Meanwhile, Jeep executives are scrambling to respond. The company is weighing its options. Should it stand firm in its decision or attempt to negotiate a compromise? The stakes are enormous. A misstep could cost Jeep billions in revenue and erode its standing as a trusted American brand. Trump's economic crackdown. Trump is not backing down. He is tightening the screws on Jeep. The White House has just announced a new wave of tariffs directly targeting Jeep and its international supply chain. These are not minor penalties. They are designed to disrupt Jeep's entire global operation, forcing the company to either comply or suffer massive financial losses. For Jeep, the problem is immediate. Many of its critical components, engines, transmissions, and electronic systems are sourced from factories outside of the United States. With the new tariffs in place, those imports are now significantly more expensive, creating a ripple effect throughout the company. Production costs are surging, and Jeep's carefully calculated pricing strategy is crumbling under the pressure. The automotive industry is watching closely. If Jeep succumbs to these economic restrictions, it sets a precedent for every other automaker operating within the United States. The message from Washington is clear: manufacture domestically or pay the price. But Jeep has no intention of backing down. Jeep is not surrendering, they are fighting back. Jeep's counterattack. Jeep just played its biggest card yet, but will it be enough? The company has launched a strategic counteroffensive, one that goes beyond simple public relations. Jeep's legal team is preparing for a high-stakes battle, challenging the tariffs on multiple fronts. At the same time, the company's leadership is engaging in behind-the-scenes negotiations, leveraging its influence in both political and economic circles. The automaker is also taking its case directly to the American people. A sweeping advertising campaign has been rolled out, painting Jeep as the victim of an unfair economic war. The message is simple: the tariffs are not just hurting Jeep, they are hurting American workers, dealerships, and consumers. Lobbyists are working overtime, rallying congressional allies who oppose the administration's aggressive trade policies. Jeep's executives are meeting with industry leaders, looking for support in what is quickly becoming a broader battle for the future of American manufacturing. As part of their fight, Jeep is leveraging media outlets, social media campaigns, and direct outreach to consumers, ensuring that their side of the story reaches as many people as possible. The automaker is even exploring legal avenues to challenge the tariffs in federal court, arguing that the policies unfairly target companies with global supply chains. It is a high-risk strategy, but Jeep believes it has no other choice if it wants to maintain its competitive edge. Trump did not see this coming, but now things are getting personal. Consumers caught in the crossfire. If you drive a Jeep, this fight just hits your wallet. The impact of the economic battle is no longer confined to boardrooms and political speeches. It is now affecting everyday Americans. Prices on Jeep vehicles are rising, and dealerships are struggling to keep up with the rapid cost fluctuations. Consumers looking to purchase a new Jeep are faced with an unexpected dilemma. Should they buy now, before prices climb even higher, or wait in hopes that the dispute will settle? For many, the added financial burden is forcing them to reconsider their options entirely. Some are turning to competitors, seeking more affordable alternatives from brands that have not been caught in the crossfire. For those who already own a Jeep, the impact is just as severe. Service and repair costs are climbing due to increased expenses on replacement parts. Many of these components are manufactured overseas, and with the new tariffs, Jeep dealerships are forced to either absorb the costs or pass them on to customers. Some warranty agreements are being adjusted, leaving customers uncertain about their long-term ownership costs. The crisis is even affecting dealerships, as sales slow down and supply chain delays cause shortages of key models. Showrooms that were once filled with eager customers are now seeing fewer buyers, hesitant to commit to an uncertain future. Dealership owners and sales representatives are caught in the middle, trying to explain price hikes while facing declining revenue. And just when it seemed bad, another automaker jumped into the fight. Jeep's financial gamble. Jeep's survival is on the line. Will they make it through? The company is now facing one of the most uncertain financial periods in its history. Wall Street is watching closely, and Jeep's stock price is fluctuating wildly. Investor confidence is shaken, and some analysts are predicting long-term instability if the conflict is not resolved soon. For decades, Jeep has been a symbol of resilience. The company has weathered recessions, changing consumer trends, and fierce competition. But this time, the battle is different. The political pressure is mounting, and the economic consequences are more severe than ever before. Industry insiders are speculating on Jeep's next move. Will they double down and push forward with their global expansion strategy, or will they be forced to compromise under political and financial pressure? Every decision from this point forward carries immense risk. Some experts believe Jeep may attempt to shift more of its production to the United States in an effort to mitigate tariff costs. This move, however, would require significant investment in new manufacturing facilities and a complete restructuring of its supply chain. Others argue that Jeep might seek new partnerships or explore alternative markets to offset its losses. Meanwhile, consumers and investors alike are waiting to see how this standoff plays out. If Jeep is unable to navigate the economic turmoil, it could signal a shift in the automotive industry, influencing how other companies approach their global operations. Jeep has one last chance, but it is a dangerous move. The auto industry's response. Jeep may be first, but every automaker is now on high alert. What started as a showdown between one brand and the President of the United States is now sending shockwaves through the entire auto industry. Leaders at Ford, General Motors, and Tesla are not just watching, they are recalibrating their strategies. In boardrooms across the country, executives are weighing the risks. Will Trump's retaliation force companies to shift production back to the United States, or will Jeep's defiance inspire others to resist? General Motors, having already battled the president, is reportedly in emergency talks with trade advisors and legal teams, bracing for potential fallout. Some sources suggest General Motors is discreetly lobbying lawmakers to push back against aggressive tariffs and penalties. Ford, an American icon with deep national roots, faces a unique challenge. While many of its most popular models depend on global supply chains, aligning with Trump's America First policies might help it avoid Jeep's fate. Executives are debating whether to announce domestic factory expansions as a preemptive measure. Tesla, a disruptor in the industry, operates differently but isn't immune. Its supply chain for battery production relies on materials sourced outside the country. If Trump escalates his stance on economic nationalism, Tesla's costs could soar. Elon Musk has remained uncharacteristically quiet, but insiders suggest the company is closely monitoring the situation. Behind the scenes, a coalition of auto leaders is forming, engaging in private lobbying efforts to influence government policy before lasting damage is done. The industry isn't just fighting for its bottom line, it's fighting for survival in a landscape that could be reshaped overnight. If Jeep's standoff sets a precedent, the cost of doing business in the United States could skyrocket. But one company is about to make a shocking move that changes everything. The political fallout. Jeep's battle with Trump is no longer just economic, it's a defining political moment. With an election on the horizon, this conflict carries massive implications for both parties. Republican lawmakers are split. Some back Trump's crackdown, arguing that companies prioritizing foreign profits over American workers should face consequences. Others, particularly those from auto-heavy states like Michigan and Ohio, warn that tariffs and retaliatory measures could backfire, causing job losses and higher consumer prices. Democrats are seizing the opportunity to attack Trump's trade policies, calling them reckless and damaging to American businesses. Some senators are demanding investigations into how these policies are impacting corporations and consumers. They argue that tariffs don't just hurt big business, they make vehicles more expensive and threaten American jobs. Jeep's move has turned battleground states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania into political hot zones. Workers, unions, and small businesses tied to the auto industry are reconsidering their political allegiances. Some view Jeep's decision as corporate greed, while others see Trump's policies as a threat to their livelihoods. Political analysts are closely tracking polling data, searching for signs that this fight is shifting voter sentiment. While Trump's base remains loyal, independent voters are growing wary. The possibility of a full-scale trade war, coupled with rising car prices and economic uncertainty, could become a major liability. Both parties are weaponizing the Jeep controversy. Republican strategists paint the company as an unpatriotic corporation abandoning American workers for overseas profits. Democrats argue that Trump's leadership is unpredictable and economically dangerous. The media is fueling the fire, ensuring that this battle will remain at the center of the national conversation. This is no longer just about Jeep, it's shaping the next election. The global trade battle. Jeep is caught in the middle of an international economic war. What began as a domestic dispute is now sending ripples through global markets, triggering responses from trade partners and multinational corporations. Countries with heavy investments in the American auto industry, including Canada, Mexico, Germany, and China, are watching closely. Some are preparing retaliatory measures. The European Union has hinted at counter tariffs on American-made vehicles, which could escalate into an all-out trade war. Mexico, where Jeep has major manufacturing plants, has issued warnings against disrupting existing trade agreements. Officials are in talks with United States representatives, arguing that any drastic policy changes could damage economic stability, disrupt supply chains, and reduce competitiveness for American automakers. China, already in its own economic standoff with the United States, is using the Jeep conflict as leverage. State-backed media is presenting the dispute as evidence of America's instability in trade policy. Meanwhile, Chinese officials are exploring ways to strengthen ties with European and Japanese automakers, potentially gaining a foothold in markets where American brands may struggle. Auto giants from Japan and South Korea are also strategizing. If Trump's tariffs make Jeep's vehicles more expensive, competitors like Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai see an opportunity to increase their market share. Some companies are adjusting advertising campaigns to emphasize their commitment to American jobs and domestic production. The global trade battle is sending shockwaves through financial markets. Investors are watching as stock prices fluctuate, uncertain of how this standoff will end. Hedge funds are placing calculated bets on which companies will withstand the turbulence, while economic analysts warn of a potential downturn if tensions continue to rise. The fate of Jeep is no longer just about one brand. The economic policies unfolding in this crisis could reshape how multinational corporations navigate government intervention. If Jeep withstands the pressure, it may inspire other companies to push back against political influence. But if it falters under the weight of tariffs and retaliation, it will serve as a cautionary tale for businesses operating in an increasingly volatile global market. The auto industry, the economy, and political power are all on the line. What happens next will determine the future of manufacturing, trade, and corporate government relations for years to come. Jeep's reinvention. Jeep is making a radical shift, but will it be enough? After weathering the most intense political and economic storm in its history, the company stands at a crossroads. The choices it makes now will determine whether it remains a dominant force in the automotive industry or fades into irrelevance. With shifting consumer preferences, government policies evolving rapidly, and global markets growing more competitive, Jeep has no choice but to reinvent itself. One major aspect of Jeep's transformation is its commitment to electric vehicles. The move toward fully electric and hybrid models is no longer an option. It is a necessity. Governments around the world are setting stricter emissions regulations, and consumer demand for sustainable options is rising. Jeep has long been known for its rugged off-road capability, but can it maintain its identity while transitioning to an electric future? Executives at the company have outlined a bold plan that includes revamping production facilities, securing supply chains for crucial materials like lithium and cobalt, and investing in advanced battery technology. The company has announced that its next generation of vehicles will include a range of fully electric and plug-in hybrid models designed to deliver the same off-road capability and durability that its customers expect. However, making this shift requires massive investment, and not all stakeholders are convinced. Beyond electric vehicles, Jeep is also restructuring its global strategy. The backlash from its conflict with the government has highlighted the risks of over-reliance on foreign manufacturing. To mitigate future political and economic vulnerabilities, the company is exploring a more balanced approach, bringing some production back to domestic plants while still maintaining a presence in key international markets. This move aims to appease both political forces and consumers who prioritize American-made products. Jeep's reinvention is not just about technology technology or manufacturing locations. The brand is also working to modernize its image while staying true to its heritage. The rugged, adventure-driven persona that Jeep has cultivated for decades is being updated for a new generation of consumers who value both performance and sustainability. New marketing campaigns are being designed to showcase how Jeep can remain the go-to brand for outdoor enthusiasts while also being a leader in environmentally conscious innovation. But will this reinvention be enough to secure Jeep's place in the industry? The decisions being made now are not just about short-term survival, they are about long-term dominance. If Jeep successfully executes its strategy, it could emerge from this crisis as a stronger, more innovative brand than ever before. However, if it fails to adapt quickly enough, it risks losing ground to competitors that have already embraced the future of mobility. The ripple effect. This is not just about Jeep anymore. The battle between the company and the government has sent shockwaves through the entire automotive industry, forcing other manufacturers to reconsider their own strategies. The lessons learned from this conflict will likely influence corporate decisions for years to come, changing the way automakers approach production, trade agreements, and government relations. Other manufacturers, from legacy brands to emerging electric vehicle startups, are watching closely. The policies that emerge from this standoff have raised questions about how companies should navigate an era of increasing economic nationalism. Some automakers are taking a more cautious approach, scaling back international expansion plans in favor of strengthening domestic operations. Others are doubling down on global partnerships, betting that international cooperation will ultimately prove more profitable than isolationist policies. The shift in manufacturing priorities is also affecting workers. The push for more domestic production is being hailed as a victory for labor unions, but it also comes with challenges. Factories need to be retooled, supply chains need to be adjusted, and workers need to be retrained to handle the production of next-generation vehicles. While this transition may create new jobs in the long run, it is also leading to short-term instability in certain regions as companies adjust to the new landscape. Beyond the automotive sector, the financial markets have taken note. Investors are reassessing the risks of investing in companies that have heavy exposure to global supply chains. Jeep's struggle has made it clear that political tensions can have an immediate and severe impact on stock prices, corporate strategies, and consumer confidence. This realization is causing analysts to reevaluate how they assess risk in the auto industry and beyond. The broader economy is also feeling the effects. Rising vehicle costs due to new tariffs and shifting production locations are impacting consumers. For many car buyers, affordability is a top priority, and sudden increases in prices could push them toward alternative brands or even different modes of transportation altogether. The conflict has accelerated conversations about the future of car ownership, with some experts predicting that more consumers will turn to ride-sharing services and vehicle subscription models as an alternative to traditional car buying. These ripple effects extend beyond domestic borders. Governments in Europe and Asia are responding to the changing trade landscape by adjusting their own policies. Some are offering new incentives for manufacturers to build facilities in their countries, while others are imposing their own retaliatory tariffs, further complicating international trade dynamics. What started as a battle between one company and one government is now a global economic event with far-reaching consequences. The final twist. Just when it seemed like the dust was settling, an unexpected development changed everything. A last-minute legal ruling, a new trade deal, or a surprise corporate merger, something no one saw coming, suddenly shifted the balance of power. The final twist in this saga proves that the battle between Jeep and the government is far from over, and its impact is only just beginning. Jeep's decision to challenge the government was bold, but it may not have been the last word in this conflict. There are still unresolved questions about the long-term impact of tariffs, the future of manufacturing regulations, and how consumer demand will evolve in response to these dramatic changes. With political pressures still at play, automakers may find themselves navigating even more unexpected challenges in the years ahead. Meanwhile, Jeep's competitors are using this moment to reposition themselves in the market. Some are capitalizing on Jeep's struggles to attract former loyalists who are skeptical of the company's direction. Others are working behind the scenes to ensure that they do not end up in a similar battle with policymakers. The industry as a whole is undergoing a transformation, and Jeep's struggle has become a defining moment in this shift. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from this entire saga is that no company, no matter how iconic, is immune to the forces of politics, economics, and consumer expectations. Jeep may have sparked this battle, but the fight is far from over. The decisions made in boardrooms, government offices, and consumer households in the coming months will shape the future of the automotive industry in ways that no one can fully predict. As the world watches, one thing remains certain: the road ahead is anything but predictable. Jeep's next move and the ripple effects of this battle will continue to unfold, ensuring that this story is far from finished. But what's your thoughts on this topic? Let's talk down in the comments.